Artur Beterbiev is the new undisputed champion at light heavyweight after beating Dmitry Bivol by majority decision in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, Teddy Atlas noted that the fight was closely contested, with both fighters displaying their skills. He scored the bout 115-113 in favor of Beterbiev, indicating that he believed Beterbiev won by a narrow margin, winning 7 rounds to 5. Atlas stated, "I had it 2 rounds for Beterbiev. There were many rounds that were very close where Beterbiev closed strong for the round. I had it 115-113 for Beterbiev. There were a lot of close rounds, but Beterbiev smartly, experience-wise, closed the show a little strong and grabbed those rounds." Atlas was critical of Bivol's performance, suggesting that he made strategic errors that cost him the fight. He mentioned that Bivol needed to adapt his approach as the fight progressed, particularly in response to Beterbiev's power and aggression. Atlas added, "Bivol did a great job of being defensive when he had to, but being set for offense. He didn't let the Beterbiev walk in and overcome him, because if you just move on him and use your legs, Beterbiev is just going to track you down, and he's going to get you like he's tracking prey down." Atlas pointed out, where the fight changed entirely was when Bivol started strong in the 7th, hitting Beterbiev with a mini flurry of punches to the head. That woke up Beterbiev, causing him to attack relentlessly in the final minute of the 7th, landing some huge headshots one after another. After the round, Bivol was never the same. He became very reluctant to attack in the remaining 5 rounds, and Beterbiev took over, dominating 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
He's dirty. I'm saying he'll do what he's got to do. It's up to the ref to decipher it. He leaves it up to the ref. He's that guy. I get it. He defends himself at all times. Leave it up to. So when he gets close, he's gonna hit you wherever he can hit you. And I thought there was one time he may have. I'd have to see it again. I wonder if you saw this, where he may have hit Bivol behind the head a little bit. It impacted Bivol. It bothered him, it hurt him, and it took a whole round where Bivol couldn't do what he was doing, where it was offense. He had a nice combination of offense and defense. He had to go fully defensive to survive that round. So he threw away that round. That round was thrown away with that moment.
Teddy Atlas also discussed the judging criteria for boxing matches. He said that the judges should be looking for the fighter who is landing the cleaner, more impactful punches. They should also be considering who is controlling the ring and the pace of the fight.
Right. And there was one other turning point. There was a round where he was putting punches together beautifully, he being Bivol, beautifully. I said, oh my God, he's bang, 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 bang. He put him, and I said, I made a note right there, don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. One too many, you got a problem. And boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, instead of 4, he threw the 5th, bang, he gets hit, he gets hurt. The whole round changes. All of a sudden, all of a sudden it's the other guy's round. From a dominant round, it becomes the other guy. Those are the kind of rounds that made it difficult to score. So I see Eddie Hearns, I see Frank Warren, I see all those guys who know the sport thinking, forget about that Hearn has. No, I can see him making a legitimate argument. I thought the 116, 112 was absurd. Again, I could see 1 point, 2 points, I had it 2. I could see it a draw. You want to flip it 1 point for Bivol? I mean, it's within that territory. Right. But I think what's not disputable is that at the end of the day, Beterbiev in the championship rounds was able to impose his physicality, which he hadn't been able to completely do that up to that point.
Teddy Atlas felt that the Bivol versus Beterbiev fight was a great fight and that it was worthy of a unification. He was particularly impressed with Beterbiev's performance and said that he is a very technically sound fighter. He also said that Bivol is a very mentally tough fighter and that he was not surprised that he was able to go the distance with Beterbiev.
But when I said to you, I'm gonna pick Bivol. So full disclosure, I picked the wrong guy. I'm gonna pick Bivol to win. But the reason I'm picking him, we know he can box, we know he's sophisticated, we know he's I'm picking him because of this. Because I don't think he'll be evaporated like the other guys, like the other 20. I think he's mentally durable enough. I did say it. He's mentally durable enough, strong enough, and I'll stand on that.
John Scully, the coach of Artur Beterbiev, noted that the official scorecards reflected a split decision. He acknowledged that the fight could have been scored differently, indicating that it was a competitive match that could have gone either way. Scully said, "I thought Artur got inside quite a bit, and some of the rounds were big rounds. He didn't do anything, and Artur was all over him, and I think that swayed toward us a lot. When asked how surprised he was that Bivol made it the full 12 rounds without being knocked out, Scully explained that these fighters are among the world's best and expecting a knockout in such a fight is unrealistic. Scully acknowledged that Bivol had sustained significant punishment as evidenced by his swollen left eye. Bivol absorbed several powerful blows, leaving Scully with the impression that his opponent was in imminent danger of defeat. He added, "He obviously got caught with some big shots, and he took a good punch. He caught some solid shots. There were a couple of times when I thought we had him. I really thought we had him. I thought the fight was going to be over. He looked like he was on shaky legs, but he's a high-level fighter. So he came through." According to Scully, instructing a fighter in that position to aim for a knockout is crucial. He believed that Artur had dominated the last round and that there was a good chance of securing a knockout halfway through. However, he acknowledged that Dimitri's world-class skills made it a challenging feat. Scully said, "In a fight like that, you never know. I would always say, go for the knockout. I would always tell a fighter in that position to go for the knockout. I thought Artur dominated the last round. Halfway through, I thought we had a good chance of getting a knockout. But like I say, Dimitri is world class. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. Now that they know each other, a rematch would be even better." In the aftermath of Dimitri Bivol's boxing match, his ex-wife, who had previously made serious accusations against him, expressed her delight at his defeat. She was observed celebrating and showing gratitude to Artur for securing the victory.
Да, потому что карма настигла Бивола. Иди к своей Марихе, я была права. Ну что, ребята, ну что, карма настигла своего засранца. Артур, я рада за тебя. Вперед.
Meanwhile, Carl Froch provided a strong critique of the recent fight between Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, expressing his belief that the decision was unjust. Carl Froch thought that Bivol won the fight, but that the judges were wrong and that Beterbiev was given the victory. He says it was a close fight, but that Bivol did enough to win.
Against Bivol, which I thought was a bit wide. I mean, you can't say 160 and 112, and you're saying basically there that Bivol only won 4 rounds, so that's out of order. I think, in my opinion, the wrong man got his hand held. I think the best case you could make for Beterbiev in that fight would have been a draw. It was a fantastic fight, really enjoyed it, and unfortunately I do think that the wrong man got his hand held, but it's subjective scoring, it's open to massive opinion, and there is a lot of people thinking actually that Beterbiev did enough to win the fight, and he's landing a couple of heavy shots. He's putting Bivol on his back foot for a lot of the fight. And when Bivol's working, throwing fast combination punches, a lot of the stuff's being blocked on the arms and gloves. So you have to take that into consideration with these judges when they're scoring the fights. But all around, it was a fantastic boxing match between two elite level athletes. The art of pugilism at its finest right there, and we definitely need a rematch.
Froch also shares his thoughts on the overall event, expressing disappointment with the atmosphere in Saudi Arabia. He notes the numerous empty seats, contrasting it with the vibrant atmosphere typically found in UK boxing events.
What's going on for the boxing out in Saudi? How's it looking? Is everyone enjoying it? The atmosphere, has it improved? To be honest, they've got Missy Elliott, they've got Buster Rhymes, shout out to Buster Rhymes, remember him from back in the day, still going strong as well. Sierra, they've got like a mini concert. I understand they've got to fill gap because of the TV obligations, you've got time. But there was a competition to win a car, there was loads going off. To be honest, anything to try and get some spark and some atmosphere going, because it's fucking diabolical. I'm sorry, but the atmosphere is not working for me. I mean, it's flat as you like, empty seats everywhere. Eddie Hills was saying that it's sold out, 12,000, but it's not the case, is it? There was empty seats everywhere. Ringside seats were empty. People were coming and going, same old, same old. You feel like there's no interest in the boxing sometimes with the fans. That it's almost like they've been dragged there and they've gone there against their will. And you've got top level, elite level fights going off. And I don't know, I'm still on the fence with how it works out in Saudi Arabia in terms of the boxing and the atmosphere. I think boxing, out of loads of sports, you can pick so many sports, Boxing is the one sport that needs an atmosphere.
However, many in the boxing community felt that Bivol was unfairly denied a victory in the closely contested contest. Fight fans particularly took issue with the controversial 116-112 scorecard in Beterbiev's favor. Turki Alalshik, for one, had Bivol winning the fight and believes the boxer won multiple rounds more than his opponent. Speaking to the Stomping Ground following the event, the Saudi minister confirmed that he'd try to set up a rematch. He stated, "I don't think the result is fair, in my opinion. Both fighters are like my brothers, but I think Bivol won 2 rounds more. I don't know why the result is like this, but in my opinion, I will focus and I will try to do the rematch. They deserve it. They deserve it. If they accept, we will do it." Bivol too is itching to run it back with the newly crowned undisputed light heavyweight champion. During the post-fight press conference, he claimed that the significant fan interest behind it makes the fight a must-have. Bivol promoter Eddie Hearn is also all in for the idea of a rematch. During the presser, he said, "There has to be a rematch because Artur Beterbiev. There is always going to be the controversy of that fight, and he is a true champion. What other fight is there for Artur Beterbiev? The whole world wants to see that again." Eddie Hearn talked about the 116-112 score that favored Artur Beterbiev while speaking on DAZN. He said, "In one of the biggest fights of our generation, the most important fight of Dmitry Bivol's life, you give him 4 rounds. Breaking down the score, where the winner of a round earns 10 points and the loser 9, Beterbiev secured victory in 8 of the 12 rounds. Afterward, he referenced a pivotal moment from the bout. Hearn said, "It's disgusting. You heard Beterbiev's corner in the 10th round. They told him, you have to knock him out to win this fight." This meant that even the 39-year-old's team knew he didn't have a chance of winning solely based on the judges' scores. But ultimately, he did. Hearn's reaction, he said, "I'm absolutely baffled and disgusted." Reflecting on the bout, Bivol acknowledged a sense of control throughout the majority of the rounds, emphasizing his belief in landing cleaner and more effective punches compared to his opponent. The statistics supported Bivol's claims as he landed a higher percentage of his punches despite Beterbiev's higher punch output. He said, "I felt like everything was under control before the last round. I felt like I landed more clean." However, the former WBA light heavyweight champion was unwilling to use punch count as an excuse for his defeat. Bivol recognized that boxing encompasses far more than just landing clean punches, and that impressing the judges and effectively managing rounds play crucial roles in determining the outcome of a fight. He added, "But boxing is not only about clean punches. It's about how you impress judges, and you need to count sometimes rounds, not punches." With unwavering determination, Bivol stood erect, refusing to indulge in excuses. Aiming for greatness in the ring, he emphasized that each maneuver he performed was the result of careful planning and precise calculation. Bivol added, "I feel shame if I try to explain why I didn't win the fight. I didn't win, and that's it." However, Dmitry Bivol needs no convincing. He immediately expressed his desire for a rematch, though not because of the judge's decision. Instead, Bivol felt personally disappointed with his own performance. Bivol stated, "I am a warrior and have no excuses. I just want another chance to prove myself." Sergio Mora insists Dmitry Bivol deserved the win over Artur Beterbiev based on his defense and ring generalship. He says that Bivol was blocking Beterbiev's punches on his gloves, and he wasn't affected by his shots.
It was great, man. The first half of the fight was all him. I just thought it was going to be an easy night for Dmitry Bivol, but then of course the second half of the fight went totally different. But I think the scorecards were wrong, Mannix. I mean, the scorecards were wrong. I think at worst Bivol deserved a draw, at worst. But I thought he won this fight handily because the punches that were being landed in the second half of the fight were landing on the gloves. If you really think about the punches that Beterbiev was landing, and mind you, he's a monster puncher. He doesn't need to land cleanly. So yes, they were having their effect as the rounds went on, but they weren't breaking the guard. They weren't penetrating the guard, blocking the head back of Dmitry Bivol. So I couldn't give him total credit, or I couldn't give him the round so easily just because he was carrying off the gloves. I mean, if you remember Winky Wright, he made a career.
The punches that Beterbiev was landing on Bivol's gloves were being absorbed into his head, and he was affected. Many of the punches that Beterbiev was hitting Bivol with were connecting to his chin and on the side of his head. They weren't being blocked. If Bivol hadn't been affected by Beterbiev's shots, he would have fought more aggressively in rounds 6 through 12. Mora said, They weren't penetrating the guard and knocking the head back of Dmitry Bivol, so I couldn't give him total credit because they were hitting gloves. I wasn't giving him credit and rounds for the punches that were landing on his gloves. I was giving Bivol credit for defense and ring generalship and not allowing Beterbiev to get his combinations off. I don't see how the judges gave the decision to Beterbiev. Mora feels that the judges were swayed by Beterbiev's aggression and punch volume without properly considering the effectiveness of those punches. He believes that Bivol's ability to negate Beterbiev's power through his defense and control the ring with his movement should have been the deciding factors in the judges' scoring.
You know, we're getting to a period in boxing where judges are starting to score ineffective aggression just because you have this monster puncher that's coming forward and throwing punches but not landing. Something has to be fixed right here, because that is not effective aggression. If you're not landing the big shots, and mind you, this is a monster puncher. If a monster puncher is not landing his monster shots, then we have to give credit to Bivol for moving around the ring generalship and defense if he has his hands up. The only thing I didn't like about Bivol is two things, and I was talking to my trainer Dean Campos about this, and he made an excellent point. He was blocking shots. Even though his hands were up, he was blocking the shots. So he was giving the impression to the judges that Beterbiev was actually landing some shots when they were pairing off the gloves. That's one. Two, if you're gonna mind your defense like that, you gotta make fighters completely miss. They gotta hit air. That's how you get the judges' attention to give you credit for defense. Either step back and have them miss completely, or clinch like you're talking about and back him up. That's what me and my trainer were talking about. The fact that he didn't make Beterbiev miss completely. And in the inside, you know what monsters don't like, Annex? They don't like being walked backwards, man, because they're not accustomed to taking a step back. They go forward and forward and forward, seeking and destroying. When you clinch them and you back them up, you make them back up, they're unaccustomed to that. But that you need to work in the ring in sparring against bigger sparring partners. So those are only two things that Bivol should have done, is make them miss completely with defense and back up the monster, the older legs.
Mora's advice for Bivol to clinch Beterbiev probably wouldn't have worked because he was still getting hit around the side of the head when he was holding. Bivol didn't like getting hit point blank by Beterbiev during the clinches because his shots were still powerful despite him not having leverage to throw. Mora says Bivol should have used clinching and walked back Beterbiev to keep him from throwing. He feels that Bivol missed his chance to shut down Beterbiev's offense and test his recently surgically operated on knee. Mora added, Bivol should have made him miss and back up the monster with the older legs. He had surgery, Beterbiev. You got to force that knee backwards. As opposed to the third judge's score, according to which Beterbiev won 8 rounds, Sean Porter believed it to be the other way around, and it only lasted 10 rounds. Porter wrote on Twitter, "Call me crazy, but I got it 8-2 Bivol," in response to the team of the current undisputed champion urging him to eliminate Bivol. Based on Bivol's effective strikes and combos, it appears that he also gave him the rounds. In the early rounds, Bivol held the upper hand, but as the fight wore on, Beterbiev gained momentum, making a strong push in the later stages. Numerous rounds were extremely close, leaving room for debate, yet the judges seemed to lean in favor of Beterbiev. Despite nearing 40 years old, Beterbiev maintained relentless forward pressure throughout the entire fight, which allowed him to narrowly claim the more closely contested rounds against Bivol. The judges appeared to give more weight to his aggressive approach. After receiving instruction from his corner in the 10th round, Beterbiev went for the kill after winning all of the championship rounds. Finally, after calling the bout good, Terrence Crawford sought the fans' thoughts. "That was a good fight, but who did y'all have winning?" he asked. Few experts predicted that Beterbiev would prevail either before or after the fight, but he proved them wrong. Whether the two boxers will run it back is still up in the air. However, based on their comments, it appears that they are intrigued. Frank Warren acknowledged the tight nature of the Beterbiev-Bivol fight. He noted Bivol's control with his jab, but also observed Beterbiev's momentum regaining ability. Warren commended both fighters for their skills and the thrilling bout. Despite believing Bivol had a slight edge, he expressed admiration for the high-quality contest.
And I was watching the fight, and it was a close fight. It was a close fight. I thought Bivol won, but it was a close fight. But as you say, it was technical, and there were moments in it where Bivol was controlling it with his jab, and then he stopped, and then let Arthur come back into it. But having said that, cracking. I thought it was a cracking fight.
Couldn't take your eyes
I
off it.
really enjoyed it. I did. You know, just two absolute quality fighters giving their all. But as I say, I thought he won the fight.
And Frank, the launch of Riyadh season, and there was a bit of something for everybody, if we could put it that way.
It was a great night. I mean, it was a great night for the fans again. Some really good fights there. You know, that was a brilliant fight. The heavyweight fight, you know, Fabio well and truly launched himself on the world stage, a world-class finish. The Ben Whittaker fight I thought was quite interesting.
Robert Garcia, a seasoned trainer, agreed the fight was close. He scored it 7 rounds to 5 for Bivol, emphasizing Bivol's control in the early rounds and his consistent technique throughout. Despite Beterbiev's relentless pressure, Garcia believed Bivol's effective blocking and success in the later rounds secured his victory.
I thought it was a pretty close fight. It was a fight that you know, depending on how you score it. Me personally, I thought Bivol pulled it off by, 7-5, very close. I thought he pulled it off. I thought he won the first 3 rounds. I think with his combinations moving around, and I think he still won a few more rounds after that. You know, using that, that technique. Beating him to the punch. And in the late rounds, there was a few moments where he was able to back him up, and that's when he was a little successful. But Beterbiev kept putting pressure, and even though Bivol was blocking a lot.
Garcia believed Beterbiev's work rate likely influenced the judges, but he felt Bivol landed cleaner punches. While the fight was close, Garcia thought Bivol had done enough to win.
He stayed busy. He stayed busy throwing punches. So I'm pretty sure that's why the judges seen it. But me personally, I think the most effective punches, the better punches that landed were Bivol in Bivol's favor. So that's why I thought he pulled it off. But it was close. It could have gone either way. One judge had a draw. So it depends on how you see it. Like I told you, I'm telling you, I personally thought Bivol pulled it off, but it could have gone either way. I'm not disputing it was a robbery or anything like that. It was a close fight.
After the boxing match, Conor Benn agreed with most viewers that Dimitri Bivol won. Bivol dominated the early rounds, but his momentum slowed down as the fight progressed. However, Ben believes Bivol's early lead secured his victory.
Beterbiev winning the fight. I see a lot of people online saying Bivol had won it. People I know who are watching the fight on TV said Bivol had won it. Beterbiev winning the fight. I think Bivol started off fast, won the early rounds, started slowing down.
Ben also added that in his opinion, the fight wouldn't have ended differently under any other circumstances. He praised both fighters, calling them great players and acknowledging their incredible skill, but felt Bivol's early success was key to his performance.
I don't think it goes any other way. I think Beterbiev just puts, applies pressure and hunts his prey down. Both great fights.
Amir Kane's analysis of the fight was glowing. He praised both fighters' striking abilities and called Beterbiev a beast for his intensity and tenacity. This was Khan's first time seeing Beterbiev fight, and he was deeply impressed by his power and resilience.
We are becoming the undisputed champion. Give me your thoughts, bro.
Amazing fight, man. Honestly, I have to say that both fighters fought at their skin. Honestly, put big shots was landing. Big shots were getting defended.
Initially, Khan believed Bivol would emerge victorious in the fight. However, after witnessing Beterbiev's impressive performance, Khan's perspective shifted, leaving him astounded.
But one thing I can say, it's the first time I saw Arthur fight Beterbiev. What a beast he is. Look, I thought Bivol was going to go into this fight and win this fight. But after watching this fight and watching him fight how he fought, what a beast he is. Honestly, there's no one beating him. The guy was punch perfect, great defense, very strong, hits hard with both hands, and you can see how marked up Bivol was.
Khan provided additional insights into his scoring of the fight, emphasizing that Bivol's strong performance in the early rounds greatly influenced his victory.
Might be taking some of them rounds.
Look, Bivol won a lot of the rounds. It was up to round 8 where I had it even. It was the last 2 rounds, round 11 and 12. Round 10, to me, it was even, 5-5. But when I watched it from the last 2 rounds were the championship rounds where Bivol was on his back foot and Beterbiev put the pressure on, pushed him back with some heavy shots, and it just showed to me that Bivol just couldn't keep up with him.
In the aftermath of the much-anticipated light heavyweight clash between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, Beterbiev acknowledged Bivol's impressive display of skill and resilience in the ring. However, he simultaneously offered constructive criticism, suggesting that Bivol could have elevated his game to even greater heights as a boxer. Furthermore, Beterbiev believed that Bivol could have utilized his jab more effectively. He noted that Bivol's jab was often short and lacked the necessary power to keep Beterbiev at a safe distance. By developing a sharper and more consistent jab, Bivol could have controlled the tempo of the fight and set up his power punches more effectively. While Beterbiev's criticism may have come across as harsh to some, it was ultimately rooted in a desire to see Bivol reach his full potential as a boxer. Beterbiev recognized the immense talent and potential possessed by Bivol, and he wanted to provide constructive feedback that could help him achieve even greater success in the future.
He did a good job, like, you know, I don't know how he measure his work. I mean, good or not, but I am not bad boxer. I did not bad work, but I think Mark, my coach, my team will prove my. I did what we prepared. I did some part of this work, not all the work. I don't know why. You know, if be honest, I always more critic of myself. And even all my last 20 fights, because of luck, I win them by KO. I'm always complain about my skills, performance, you know. That's why I don't like what I did. I mean, I want to do more, better, always.
What do you think about Dmitry Bivol's post-match conference? Should Beterbiev accept the rematch? Let us know your thoughts down below.